Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Donnie here, and I'm back with another installment in my classic movie spotlight series. So this video is going to be a little different. I'm talking about one movie in particular, but the focus is going to be a little narrow. I've actually narrowed it down to one scene from the movie, and in fact, one line from it. Now, that may sound preposterous how I can make a whole video out of one line, but it's just the line that really stood out to me, and I just found it very intriguing. And I learned in screenwriting courses how every line has a purpose. There's no such thing as a throwaway line, and everything in the script is meticulously um, Im- imperative to the script as a whole. And this line just really stood out to me, and so I want to make a video on that. So the film in question that I'm talking about is called Guys and Dolls. It's from 1955, and it's based off the very popular Broadway musical. It stars Marlon Brando, Frank Sinatra, and Gene Simmons. And no, not Gene Simmons from Kiss. It's an actress named Gene Simmons. It's spelled with a J. So I'll give you a little background on the film before I get into the scene and the line in question. Um, and the film is about gamblers. Marlon Brando's character, Sky Masterson, is a perpetual gambler. He will take on any bet, anytime, anywhere. He probably has a gambling addiction, but they don't really uh, delve into that. Um, Frank Sinatra's character's name is Nathan Detroit, and he, in order to score money from Masterson, he decides to challenge him to an impossible bet, uh, and which he knows that Masterson will never be able to fulfill, and he'll get the cash. So the bet, so he bets him that he will take a girl on a date, and it's not just any girl. The girl is Sergeant Sarah Brown, uh, who's played by Gene Simmons, and and she is of the Save a Soul mission, and which is clearly modeled after the Salvation Army. So she's like a goody two shoes, and a kind of gambler like Masterson would be like the last guy that she would consider dating if she dates at all. Uh, but and that if that's not challenging enough, he bets Detroit bets Masterson that he won't be able to take her out on a date in Havana for the night. But Sky Masterson, being the gambling addict that he is, takes decides to take it on. The scene I wanted to talk about is when he first meets Sergeant Sarah Brown, and he goes to her headquarters claiming to be a lost soul, and he needs help saving, and she's very skeptical of him. She thinks he's up to ulterior motives, which we as the audience know he is. So they're talking, and she's kind of defensive with him. And he points out something. There's a sign in the headquarters with a Bible verse on. And he points it out and says, "That's wrong." Well, she gets taken aback and instantly offended. And she's like, and she's she says, "Oh, that's blasphemous. How dare you say that the Bible is wrong?" But he points out, "No, I'm not disagreeing with it. He's saying that it's attributed wrong. Under the Bible verse, it says that it's from the book of Proverbs, when actually it's from the book of Isaiah." And Now this may be surprising, being this um, gambler and drinker or whatever, but may not know, would know the Bible, would know the Bible that well. But he then says the line that I'm gonna go to. He says, "There's only one thing that has been in as many hotel rooms as I have, and that's the Gideon Bible." Now, have you ever stayed in a hotel or motel and you see in the drawer they'll have a Bible in there? That's usually placed there by an organization called the Gideons. That's what they're famous for. Um, so I wanted to break down this line because I just found it very interesting. I think it says a lot about the character. There's one thing he says, he's saying that he spends a lot of time in hotels. Now, some rather nefarious deeds, if you want to call it, can go on in hotels. And just because someone spends a lot of time in hotels doesn't mean that they're up to no good, but I don't think he's traveling a lot for business. He's probably there with his latest romantic tryst, or, something else, unsavory, whatever you want to call it, is going on there. So, it's not that surprising that he spends a lot of time in motels and hotels. Um, so he would know about the Bibles always being in those rooms. But just because he spends time in there doesn't mean that he reads those Bibles. But clearly he does. That he would know that verse is attributed wrong. And and he mentions he's flipped through it from time to time. So he obviously knows his stuff if he's able to just pick out, there's thousands and thousands of verses in those Bibles, but sorry, he's able to pick out, you know, pick out and remember some specific ones. So clearly he's absorbed it and knows it. So maybe in his mind, in his subconscious, maybe he's trying to turn a new leaf. Have be a more moral, upstanding citizen. I'm not getting in any religious debates with this video, but you know, so maybe his latest romantic tryst is bored him. Maybe after he's done the deed per se, and he's bored with her and read the Bible. Maybe he's feeling somewhat of a sense of guilt with his lifestyle, and is trying to turn a new leaf, at least subconsciously. And maybe as he says this, it may lighten her Sarah Brown's opinion of him just a little bit. Now, obviously, she's not going to do a complete 180 and say it's like, oh, he really is a good person. She even mentions it. He clearly hasn't taken the lessons of the Bible to heart based off his lifestyle, but but it could at least plants the kernel of truth in this, plants a seed that he's not all bad to her. And you'd see as the movie goes on, he softens his image, whatever you may think. So I just thought that was very interesting. How one line of a film can really stand out. It's not a famous movie. It's not a famous movie quote or anything. It's not you're gonna need a bigger boat or anything of that sort. I but it just was a standout line that I wanted to um, delve into a little bit. The film as a whole, I do recommend. It's very good if you're into classic Hollywood musicals. It's really it's really good. There's some great songs in it. I learned that's where the song "Luck Be a Lady" came from. I'd heard that numerous times, but never knew that it came from that musical. But so I do recommend it. Uh, so that's it. Let me know what you think. Are there any other famous movie lines that stood out to you, or and as always, I'm always looking for suggestions for future videos. So let me know in the comments, like and subscribe. You know the works. And until next time, take it easy.